Hello people of the internet, it's Amanda, and for today's video we're doing our weekly thing about Watadou's latest episode. So we're going to be talking about episode 7 this time around, and I have to say that this episode is a little bit more straightforward as compared to the previous one. So the previous one definitely is a bit choppy and has a lot more of like plot holes and anything like that. Now, I'm not saying that this one is the perfect episode, but definitely it feels a lot more concise in my opinion, given everything that they're trying to achieve prior to the finale next week. But other than that, so we're just going to be discussing whatever it is that happened, and at the same time some other theories as to how the plot is going to go for the finale. So let's just do this. Now, first things first, so there's this idea that Tsubaki is not being pretty hands-on with just doing the sweets for Kougetsu and obviously that agitates Nao a lot, considering that she's basically doing everything just so, you know, just competing with Kougetsu and at the same time, you know, knowing that Tsubaki isn't the one headlining the entire operations there. So definitely that would get on her nerves, considering the efforts that she's going through to take over or to topple them over. But then she finds out, because of this like whole client battle thing happening, that apparently Tsubaki is going blind because of what happened in the accident, and that sort of like reignites her sympathy as well as her love for him. And it's kind of funny because this entire episode, it's just a back and forth between the two of them as to the whole like forgetting the revenge thing, but it's really more of just trying to save each other from whatever it is that's happening, or sort of like just a curse of Kougetsu, if you will. So that's definitely like where they're heading at for this one. I like the whole idea of when Shiori and Nao met. There's definitely this contrast between the way that they're dressed. So before, Shiori was really all about reds and bold designs or anything like that. But given the transition, I feel like it's a very, very careful choice for the wardrobe department as well, for her to be wearing clothes that are a lot more lighter, that signifies or sort of like channels a lot of back when Nao was still the matron of Kougetsu 3 years ago, so all the pastels and pinks and anything like that. But her outfit when they met in the temple / shrine reminds me so much of Kimetsu no Yaiba for some reason. But that meeting between the two of them so juxtaposes the idea of, you know, Nao is wearing a lot more bolder colors this time around, still a bit iffy with red, but it shows how much her character has also changed in the past 3 years. Just on a visual manner, I feel like her kimonos are also a lot brighter and a lot more intricate looking this time. So I like that kind of detail that they put into the costuming. But anyway, so their entire discussion is sort of like Nao's fascination with how Shiori is definitely still in love with Tsubaki. That's why she's working for Kougetsu, and she sort of like warns him about the entire thing. But in the end, it's just revolving around this entire idea of all the unrequited love surrounding Nao and Tsubaki, especially since I couldn't remember his name at all, but you know, that guy who now is currently, who is the co-owner of Nao's current sweet shop, also showed interest in her. And there's just this entire dynamic of like lacing the idea of unrequited love, unreturned affection, surrounding the entire family drama that is supposedly about Kougetsu's ownership. Now, it's kind of interesting because Jdrama pointed out that no matter what, whoever does anything, not just applying to Shiori, but for Nao as well, no one could definitely get in between these two people. And it's quite evident in this episode, considering that when they saw each other again for the first time after 3 years, they couldn't really help each other a lot. Like all the revenge thing and all the problems that happen in between them, it pretty much showed that they still care much about each other, and they even talked things through about, you know, what went on 3 years ago. And at the same time, Nao's current goal is not for revenge anymore. That's why she wants to take over Kougetsu-an, but because she found out about Tsubaki's condition in which he's going blind, it's more of like her wanting to save him now, and not really more of just the idea that she wants to take over for revenge. Now, we've been thrown with a lot of like culprits or suspects as to who killed the master in the beginning. So there's this one artisan in them that I mentioned in my previous video, who I think is the real father of Tsubaki. Tsubaki also found out already that Nao is the actual descendant or the actual heir to Kougetsu-an, so the one who's the blood relative of the Grandmaster, because of the whole like reveal thing. And it's just interesting because they threw in another character, like the congressman, who they were sort of like pegging as well if he's the real father of Tsubaki, but I personally don't think so, considering the interaction between him and the matron. It just seems a lot more political and professional, so I'm really not counting on him as the father. But overall, like, they're trying to throw a lot of like ideal suspects, though everything just feels very red herringy at this point. And given that we've seen a darker side to Tsubaki in this particular episode, so I feel like it's leading or setting us up to the reveal that he might actually be the killer. It's just sort of like he tried to suppress it back when he was younger, so his memories got warped, and it sort of like fit whatever it is that he wanted to believe. That's why he pointed to Nao's mother. But yeah, most of my cards are Tsubaki being the actual murderer. But anyways, other than that, it's also quite interesting with the whole like Shiori fake pregnancy thing. I couldn't really get mad at her for doing so, but I just feel kind of sorry for her for wanting to have that. I feel like it's the whole idea of, you know, the attention, or finally people really accepting her for who she is, but she has to like pretend in this entire thing. So she's really more of like the softer version, I guess, of the scorned woman arc as compared to the matron. So I don't know, I just kind of feel bad for her in what happened with the previous episode and for this one. But it seems like they're trying to like tie everything together already with the grandmaster, sort of like giving a chance for both Nao and Tsubaki to prove whoever it is that, you know, would take over Kougetsu-an. So it's not really more of like the whole blood relative thing that he was so fixated on in the beginning, but giving them both a fair chance. So that's kind of interesting as well. I've heard from a lot of people on Twitter who have read the manga that they definitely steered clear from the plot that happened in the first arc of the story. So it's kind of interesting that even they don't know what's going to happen in the end of the series. But I feel like they really had to do it, considering that, you know, if they want to end it more concisely, or has a lot more layers to it as compared to just ending it abruptly. But I really have high hopes, considering that it's going to be a two-hour special. Since there's still a lot of like loose ends that you have to like tie up or anything like that, there's still a lot of questions that they need to address, and hopefully, like, so far it's been a pretty good drama, so it would be a shame if they just end it in a very weird manner, I guess. But so far, I don't know, I sort of like this episode a lot more than what happened in the previous one. It feels a lot more crisper in terms of writing. Still not the most perfect, since there are still a lot of like plot holes here and there, but overall, even visually, the way that they, especially for Nao's character, the way that they dressed her a lot in this episode really speaks to how much they're trying to make it seem like, no, she's changed. But other than that, so the whole like romance thing that they're trying to like pull for this one and anything like that still doesn't overshadow the fact that we still haven't found out who the actual killer was. So hopefully we finally get to it in the finale. And yeah, with that said, so tell me down in the comments below, what are your thoughts on this particular episode? Did you like it? Did you not like it? How did you find it? Did you find the plot very choppy, or what are your thoughts for the finale? So I would like to hear more about that in the comments below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you're new to my channel and you would want to hear more from me, please subscribe. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope to see you again soon in a new one.